Are you tired of making kadayif that's almost perfect, but not quite there? You know that feeling. The flavor is fine, the syrup is balanced, but the texture, it's just not crisp enough. It's either too soft, too chewy, or worse, soggy. Well, today, we're fixing that once and for all. Because believe it or not, the secret to the perfect kadayif dough texture isn't just about how you bake it. It starts way before that. Most people think it's all about the syrup. Too thick? Too thin? Sure, that matters. But the real magic lies in the dough itself, that delicate network of fine strands, each one needing the perfect amount of moisture and air. Let's be honest, making kadayif is a bit of an art form. One wrong move, and instead of a golden, crispy masterpiece, you end up with something that looks like, well, a sad, syrupy sponge. So what makes the difference between crispy perfection and chewy disaster? It's the balance, how the ingredients, technique, and timing work together. From the flour's protein content, to how long you rest the dough, to how thinly it's spun. Every little detail counts, and that's exactly what we're diving into today. The science and the secrets behind achieving that signature crunch. By the end of this video, you'll not only know why your kadayif sometimes fails, but exactly how to make it crisp, golden, and irresistibly light every single time. So grab your apron, preheat your curiosity, and let's uncover the mystery behind the perfect kadayif dough texture. Once and for all. The crispy conundrum. Why kadayif dough is so tricky. Now, here's the thing. Kadayif dough looks simple. Just thin strands of dough, right? How hard can it be? Well, that's exactly where most people go wrong. You see, kadayif is a perfectionist's dessert. It doesn't forgive mistakes. One drop too much water, and it turns chewy. Too little, and it dries out before it even hits the pan. It's like walking a tightrope made of butter and flour. The real challenge? Texture. Getting that golden crunch on the outside without turning the inside into cardboard. That's where most kadayif dreams crumble. Literally. Picture this. On one side, you have the perfect kadayif. Crisp, golden, light as air. On the other, the sad, soggy version that bends like wet noodles. And you've probably been there before. You pull it out of the oven, it looks amazing. But as soon as you pour the syrup, poof, the crunch disappears. So what's happening here? It's all about how the dough interacts with heat and moisture. If your strands are too tightly packed, the air can't circulate. No crispness. If they're too loose, the syrup floods in. Goodbye texture. Even the syrup temperature plays a part. Hot syrup on hot kadayif? Disaster. Cold syrup on hot kadayif? Magic. It's a game of timing, precision, and a bit of intuition. Knowing exactly when to stop, when to drizzle, and when to trust the process. But don't worry, we're about to break down each of these tiny but crucial details, so you'll never end up with chewy kadayif again. By the end of this, your dessert won't just taste good, it'll sound good. That's right, that beautiful crunch when you take the first bite? That's the sound of success. Ingredient alchemy, beyond just flour and water. So let's start where all magic begins. The ingredients. Everyone says flour and water, but trust me, it's never just that simple. The type of flour you use can make or break your kadayif. You want a flour that's high in gluten. That means strength, stretch, and that perfect network that gives the dough its silky pull. If you've ever had kadayif that fell apart too easily, weak gluten was probably the culprit. Now here's the golden secret. Semolina, or fine durum wheat. That's where the crispness and that gorgeous golden color come from. It's like giving your dough a natural tan. A touch of semolina adds texture, flavor, and that irresistible crunch that sets real kadayif apart. And don't forget the fat. A small amount of oil or melted butter inside the dough itself, not just brushed on top, keeps it from drying out and cracking. Think of it as moisturizer for your dough. This balance, flour for structure, semolina for crunch, and oil for smoothness, is where the alchemy happens. The art of the mix, temperature, rest, and consistency. Now that we've nailed the ingredients, let's talk about what most people skip: the mixing. Water temperature is everything. Too cold, and the gluten takes forever to develop. Too hot, and it gets tough and sticky before you even start shaping. You're aiming for warm, just enough to wake the flour up, not shock it. As you mix, pay attention to the feel. It shouldn't cling to your hands like glue, but it also shouldn't be stiff like bread dough. It's that soft, elastic bounce that tells you you're on the right track. And here's a pro tip: rest the dough. I know, it's tempting to skip it, but trust me, patience pays off. Letting the dough rest gives the gluten time to relax, which means smoother strands and an easier shaping process later on. Think of it like dough yoga. It needs time to breathe and stretch. Mastering the strand, shaping and slicing secrets. All right, now comes the most mesmerizing part: turning that dough into those delicate, hair-thin strands. Traditionally, it's done with a special spinner or fine sieve that lets the dough drizzle in perfect lines over a hot plate. But modern tools can work too. The key is consistency. Your strands should be uniform, neither too thick nor too thin. Too thick, and they'll stay chewy inside. Too thin, and they'll dry out before baking. The sweet spot: fine enough to crisp beautifully, but still strong enough to hold their shape when soaked in syrup. And when it's time to separate the dough, do it gently. No tugging, no tearing. Each strand should stay intact so it can cook evenly and create that signature layered crunch. This is where art meets precision. Every strand matters. Baking brilliance. The heat is on. Now for the final showdown: baking. This is where all your effort pays off, or disappears in smoke. The perfect Kadayif loves steady, controlled heat. Too low, and it dries before it crisps. Too high, and the outer layer burns before the inside even sets. The magic range? Around 180 degree, 350 degree, golden perfection territory. And here's the trick for that flawless, even browning. Rotate your tray. It sounds simple, but it makes all the difference. Every oven has its hotspots, and Kadayif is sensitive. You'll know it's ready when the strands turn a deep honey gold and release that irresistible nutty aroma. That's your cue. Now pour the syrup, but remember, hot syrup on cold Kadayif or cold syrup on hot Kadayif. Never both hot or you'll lose the crunch. And there it is, the moment of truth. That gentle crackle as your fork dives in, the golden layers breaking apart like edible lace. That's not just dessert, that's craftsmanship. So go ahead, try it yourself, because once you master the perfect Kadayif dough, you'll never see this dessert the same way again. And there you have it, the secrets behind the perfect Kadayif dough, finally revealed. From the right flour blend to the golden balance of heat and syrup, every tiny detail works together to create that iconic crunch we all love. Remember, great Kadayif isn't just made, it's crafted. It's about patience, precision, and a little bit of passion. So the next time you take that first crispy bite, you'll know exactly what went into making it so perfect. If you enjoyed this journey into the art of Kadayif, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more culinary secrets, and share it with someone who loves a good crunch. I'm Chef Salim, and this was Kadayif Secrets, unveiling the perfect dough texture. See you in the next delicious discovery.